Happy New Year. Hope everybody had a nice night. It's a new year. Let's hope for a healthy one for everyone. So before I talk about this embarrassment that we went through, let me give a quick shout out to our sponsor. By now, everybody knows Ratchet is our sponsor. They're a company out of the UK. I'll put a link down below. They have clothing for men, women, and children, various prints. Go check them out. This story evolves around Johnny Sideburns. And for those of you who have not heard me mention John before, he was an old timer in our crew, and I was very friendly with him, of course. So at this time, we have Peter Pan, whose Uncle Joe Cafe put the kid around me. And Johnny Sideburns, with this incident, was in the wrong. He should have came to me and discussed it with me first instead of using the kid. So what happened is this kid came to me, and he also went to John with the same story about some neighborhood kid in Howard Beach had a gambling operation and was using the Lucchese name, which didn't make any sense, to collect his gambling debts. So he had told it to me, this kid. I really didn't pay it too much mind, but obviously Johnny Sideburns did. Johnny Sideburns took it upon himself to send Peter Tuccio to go after this kid and shake the kid down for a measly $500, which he did. Comes back with the money. They must have whacked it up between each other. What they make, $250 each, or whatever it is. I don't really know about that. But it took place. When it took place, somewhere after, the kid mentions a name that he's with or around the guy. And the guy, we didn't know who the guy was at first. We later find out that he was a Gambino. So now they come to get me involved. You know, they didn't get me involved in the beginning, but now they come to me when there was a headache. So now I'm involved. So I want to go grab this kid, and they know where he is. And he happened to be with an uncle of his who was a little older than him, maybe about my age. And we pull up. This Peter Pan's driving his car, his truck. Johnny Sideburns is in the passenger seat, and I'm in the back seat. And this Peter Pan knew where the kid was, and they pull up, and the kid's there. So who's this guy with him? He's, oh, I don't know, I think it's his uncle or his cousin. The guy, not the kid that did the gambling, the uncle, starts pointing in the car and yelling at Peter Pan, because obviously he's been threatening his nephew. And then he goes, so I'm watching this from the back seat. I'm just an observer right now. But when he now starts pointing into the car and he's saying something, I don't remember exactly what he was saying, but he was directing it at Johnny Sideburns. I tried to get out of the car and he had the locks on. So I hit this kid. I said, open the door, open the door. He opened it up. I ran around the car and I go grab this guy. This uncle. So now I'm poking my finger in his face, you know, telling him, who the fuck you think you're talking to? And don't forget, he's talking to another friend of mine in that life and my brother in our crew. So the guy backs down and I put him in his place. He mentions a name, and he mentions the name Vinny Romano. I didn't, like I said, as far as the story goes, was starting out, at this time, we didn't know who he was. So the nephew goes and makes the mistake to tell the uncle, let's go, goes and turns his back on me, which is a disrespect. So I grab him by his neck and I spin him around. I tell him, let me tell you something. You don't walk away until I tell you the conversation's over. And now the conversation's over. Now I walk away from him. And I get back in the car and we go back to Johnny Sideburns' house. After this, Peter Pan goes away. I now have a conversation with John, and I said, we need to find out who this Vinny Romano is and who he is. Is he a friend? You know, is he another brother of ours or not? And we need to take it from there. So Johnny Sideburns gets back in touch with me. He finds out that the guy is a member of the Gambino family. We went looking for him in Brooklyn. He's a Brooklyn guy. Couldn't find them. One night, Johnny Sideburns and we went around some Brooklyn guys we know. We couldn't find them. We even went to, now he had his skipper at that time was Sonny Saccone. Sonny is an old time captain with the Gambinos, very well liked, very well known. So he has a bar in Brooklyn. We went to the bar, ran into a guy. They were looking at us. They knew, obviously, we were crazy guys going into a Gambino spot. And we asked if this Vinny Romano was there, and was told Vinny Romano wasn't there. So Johnny Sideburns hooks up the sit down that we're supposed to have. And I go and have a conversation with our captain at the time, Big John. And we go over this whole thing, and we come up with a number that we're going to tell them that we want as a result of this kid using the Lucchese name. That's what we're going with, to collect his gambling money or whatever. And the number that we came up with was 40,000. We were going to tell them we want 40,000. So they designated me to handle the sit down. As I said, Johnny Sideburns set it up. So the day of the sit down, I think we were going to meet about 1:30 in the afternoon at the Brooklyn bar that belongs to the Gambino captain that Vinny Romano's with, this Sonny. I go, I'm waiting for Johnny Sideburns to pull up, and he comes pulling up with this Peter Pan. So John gets out of the car. I said, John, tell this kid don't get out of, he can't come in there with us. I don't want him here. He's waiting for you. Tell him don't get out of that car. So he just gave me a ride here. I said, all right, unless I come and ask for him to come in, he can't have nothing to do with this. So Johnny Sideburns and myself go in. Now, we already knew what I was going to do. I was going to go in there, handle a sit down, and then tell them what we wanted, if we won, right? So we walk into place, and I don't know these guys. You know, John didn't know Vinny Romano either, but John knew Sonny. You know, he goes back with him. So John introduces me to Sonny, and then Sonny introduces Johnny Sideburns and me to his guy, this Vinny Romano. Vinny Romano was an older guy. So was Sonny. All these guys were older than me, but Vinny Romano was up there in age as well. So we start. We have a back patio, and we go stand back there. And I could see that Johnny Sideburns was a little off because of this guy Sonny was there. I was not. It didn't matter who was there. I was there to go in there and win, state our case and win. So we start, go over this whole thing, what took place. And now this Vinny Romano wants to throw a little twist into the mix and say that this kid Peter Pan pulled the gun out and whatnot. I said, listen, let me stop you. I got the kid outside. You want me to bring this kid in here? You take a look at him. I seen your guy already. And matter of fact, your guy's disrespectful. I put him in his place. And I seen what your guy looks like. I'll bring this kid in here. You tell me if this kid needed to pull out a gun on your guy. No, that's not necessary. I said, all right, I'm telling you, he didn't pull out no gun. I'm hoping he didn't. He didn't pull out no gun on your guy. He went in there and told your guy to give him the money. Your guy handed over the money. So I says, and not for nothing, when I questioned this kid's uncle, the gambling kid's uncle, he told me that they've been around you for 15 years. Did they just run to you, or these guys with you? Yeah, they've been with me. I says, because this kid's in his 20s, 15 years. What was he? Had a gambling operation when he was a little kid? They're just looking at me. I said, but that's neither here nor there. Here's what I got to tell you. We're here because your guy, which I don't understand, is using our Bagada's name to collect money in Howard Beach. I don't know. I don't understand that, because if he's with you, why is he using our name to collect money? He should be using a Gambino name to collect his money, right? And here's something more. I got to ask you a personal question, Vinny. You tell me the guy's with you, right? If this kid was with me and somebody else came to him and they went back to his house for him to get the money, and he went in his house, because this kid Peter Pan waited for him outside, and comes out with $500, and he was with me, and he didn't pick up a phone and say, hey, I got a problem, there's a beef over here, they're trying to shake me down, and he handed over that $500, I'll kick him right in his fucking ass if he's with me. and this is the guy you got with you, this kind of guy you got with you, that he handed over $500 to our guy just because the guy told him you got to give me the money. Why didn't he call you when he was in his house? He was, he says, it's this kid, I don't know. He says, do you want him? Now he's trying to give him to me. I says, do I want him? I don't want guys like that. Now, Sonny, and I give him all due respect, he stood there quietly after the introduction and just listened. But he stepped in at this moment because he felt that now I was starting to abuse this guy a little bit. But the guy really needed it because I could tell he didn't know what was going on. He just walked into the sit down. There's no doubt about it. Because I could tell by the way he was talking, he really, in my opinion, and I told Sideburns as well, we think that we pushed him into an urn. What that means is that they ran to him because there was a problem. And now he's saying that they're with him. And now they're going to have to kick some money up to them. That's my opinion. That's why I was going so hard on him. But now Sonny stepped in because, rightfully so, he does not want to stand there as a skipper when one of his guys is getting abused. And I wasn't being disrespectful, but I was giving him a little shellacking in the sit down. And he said to me, he says, all right, let me ask you a question. What could we do? What could we do to end all of this? What could we do for you? Before I got the words out of my mouth and it was going to be the 40,000, here comes Sideburns from left field. We never discussed this. He says, well, we just want him to get smacked in the face. Now, we never discussed this. So I'm trying to be composed right now because what we're doing, I'm trying not even to look at Sideburns, but I cannot believe what I'm hearing. This Sonny turns around and says, oh, do you want to smack him or we'll smack him? I said, I can't believe what I'm hearing. No. Sideburns again. You take care of it. That's all we want. We just wanted to send that message to him. Okay, it's done, he said. Nice meeting you. And we shake hands, kiss each other on the cheek, and we go to walk out. And I stop Sideburns right outside that door. I says, let me ask you a question. What the fuck was that all about? Yeah, I know. I said, no, you gotta explain it to me. Where the fuck did that come from? When was this discussed between me and you? I'm in there doing the talking. Where did that come from? Do you realize we won that sit down and this guy was asking me, how do we make this go away? What could we do for you? He says, I wasn't expecting Sonny to be there, which, to be honest with you, I never understood. How the hell were we going to talk and have this sit down if we were never introduced to Vinny Romano, which makes me think that Sideburns might have had a little more to do with this whole setup of this meeting. Because he's telling me now, I didn't expect Sonny to be there. Sonny's an old timer. He's a well-respected guy. We go back a long time. And I didn't want to, I felt bad. You were abusing the guy, but there was more to it. So I said, all right, John, it is what it is. I got to go. I go in my car, I leave, I go. And I start thinking about it. John was embarrassed that he went and took $500 from a young kid that had a small, tiny gambling operation, and he was shaking a guy down for $500. That's what this was about. So he didn't want to now have me come and say, our Bagata wants 40,000 from you for this. That's what it was about. But it gets better. After this, I haven't seen our skipper, Big John, after this, right? But we had a wake to go to, and we were in Manhattan, and we're going to the wake. And who do I run into? Big John. What's the first thing out of Big John's mouth? Hey, how'd that thing go the other day with them Gambinos? I said, it went good. He says, did we win? I says, yep. He says, what did we get? I said, nothing. What do you mean nothing? We discussed 40,000. I said, I know what we discussed. And I explained the story to him. Had to, right? I went to the wake, did my thing in there. Later on, I see sideburns. He says to me, you threw me under the bus. I said, excuse me? He says, you threw me under the bus. I said, John, how did I throw you under the bus? John came to me, Big John, he started giving me a little abuse about the sit down. I says, let me ask you something, John. I got a question for you. Let's reverse this situation. And they come to you and ask you, hey, how'd that go? How'd the sit down go? What do you say? You make up a story? It is what it is, John. They asked me what happened. I told them what happened. What, are we going to start lying to each other right now? No, I was only kidding with you, but he wasn't. Otherwise, he would have never mentioned that I threw him under the bus. I didn't throw him under the bus. I was asked a question by our skipper, who sent me to go handle the sit down, and now is going to question me, where's the money? What happened to the money? Right? What did he do? He said, what do you mean this? What do you mean? We discussed 40,000. Yeah. But I got sideswiped by Johnny Sideburns. So hope you enjoy the story. It's another mess of the life and the things that you go through in that life. And one hand not telling the other hand. Had he told me before we walked into this what he was going to do, I would have stopped him from doing that, because we were sent there to handle that. And we were also sent there to come back with money for what went on here. And we didn't accomplish that. So what's the sense of going, talking and winning the conversation when you come out losing? And that's really what happened. So that was it. I wanted to share it with you guys. I want to wish everyone for this upcoming year. I wish you all health, because once again, without our health, we don't have anything. And I wish positivity for everybody. Let's have a good new year. Ciao for now.